The Man in the Blue Flannel Pants is the 7th episode of the 23rd season of The Simpsons, directed by Stephen Dean Moore and Mike B. Anderson. And I thought this was okay. I feel like one of the narratives, the subplot, didn't get as much attention as I would have liked it to, but what we got was still pretty good. So I'll deal with that first since it's the shortest. And basically, Lisa teaches Bart to read, as Nelson calls it, a chapter book. Bart tries to read, against his wishes, Little Women to Lisa as a bedtime story, and he's struggling with some of the words. So Lisa offers to help him, and he becomes hooked. And he becomes hooked on the book, and the bullies discover this, and well, I won't say exactly what happens, but I would say it's pretty predictable. And I really enjoyed it, and by pure coincidence, I mentioned, I think, last week when I was reviewing Katharine Hepburn's Little Women film from 1933? Correct me if I'm wrong. But I mentioned there that I'm not like the biggest fan of Little Women. It's not my favourite story. I think Louisa May Alcott did an amazing job with it. But for me, it's not my favourite. I would have preferred it had it been... I'm trying to think of something that would have been suitable. Maybe Bronte Sisters may be a bit too advanced. Not for Lisa, but I think Bart might not have taken to it. Maybe Pride and Prejudice would have worked as well. But I think it was a decent choice, Little Women. But for me personally, it's not a favourite. But I still really enjoyed that part of the narrative, and I had a lot of fun with it, and I just wish they did more with it. That's not to say I think it was underdeveloped. It's just that I really enjoyed it, and I would have liked to have seen where else they could have taken with Bart's love of literature. But I think had they lent more into that, it would have had to have been the main story. The main narrative, however, focuses on Homer getting an executive job at the power plant, and I love when Homer first enters the executive building and we get to see it all, and I just think it looks wonderful. They clearly had a lot of fun designing this and animating it. It was visually really engaging and really entertaining. But Homer learns quite quickly that it's not all fantastic. Having this executive job is draining his soul, and he's missing out on his family time. And the big message here is quite simple. If you put work first, particularly a highly demanding job like this, then you're going to miss out on what's arguably more important, and that's your family. And I think it did a really good job of delivering that message. It was nice to see this other side of Homer. It was nice to see him being animated in, a suit rather than what he normally wears. Just for something a little bit different. I enjoyed it. I thought it worked well. I thought the message was very clear. I'm not that bothered about ultimately what happened with that part of the narrative, kind of like the last 5 minutes or so. I didn't hate it, but it's perhaps not the direction I would have wanted it to take. But I still enjoyed it. It's still a good story. Really, really liked it. And yeah, as I said, the story with Bart I thought was great as well. Just wish we got a tiny little bit more of that. But even still, The Man in the Blue Flannel Pants was generally a really good episode.